everyone, it's Elle. We're going to do a quick check-in video of my May reading plans. In the month of May, there's a few readathons I want to participate in. One of them is the 1900 to 1950s Readathon, and the other is the Asian Readathon. First one is hosted by Katie at Books and Things, and the second one is hosted by Cindy at With Cindy. I will put all the information and the links to the video announcements in the description below. I'm not going to talk about the prompts or anything. I don't normally like to make TBRs, but I wanted to just let people know these readathons are happening if people wanted to participate. And I also kind of just want to talk about why I want to participate and some of the books I might be reading for it. So we'll start with the 1900s to 1950s readathon. It's about books published from the year 1900 to the year 1950. It's a time period that I haven't read a whole lot from, except for when I was in school growing up, and I've been trying to get more into books from that period. So my goal here, and I'm not necessarily reading, or I'm not focusing on following the prompts for these, I just like the idea of the readathons. And so for this one, the way I want to participate is by reading diversely within that period. So by that I mean books in translation, books from different countries, books within the country I'm from, which is the United States, that lost classics, that type of thing. So here are the books that I might be reading for this. This is The Pendragon Legend. This is a Hungarian classic. We have Love in a Fallen City. This is a short story collection from China by a female author. This will also work for the Asian Readathon. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Passing by Nella Larson. The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison, which would be a reread. Their Eyes Were Watching God, which would also be a reread. Both of these would be rereads from high school, so they would feel like new books, essentially. Okay, and this is a bind-up. I've read 1984 in more recent times, but Animal Farm, which would also be a reread, again, from high school. Two of those were in translation and from countries I'm not from. Most of them are U.S. classics. Another U.S. classic I want to get onto my list is The Moccasin Maker. This is free on Amazon if you're interested in reading it. This is by First Nations author E. Pauline Johnson, and her Mohawk name is, and I'm going to butcher this, so I apologize, Tekahienwake. I think it's like short stories and whatnot. I was trying to look for books by Indigenous authors written in this period. I had a hard time finding resources for this. I'm sure that they exist, but this was one that does exist that I'm able to easily acquire. So that is what I'm going to be reading for that. Now let's move on to the Asian Readathon. So again, with this readathon, I'm focusing on books by Asian authors, and one of the things that Cindy mentions is reading diversely within the country of Asia or people of Asian descent, so not reading all books by Chinese authors, etc. I also didn't really, if someone doesn't claim their ethnicity, I'm not going to try to figure it out or claim it for them. So there's this weird line with attempting to read diversely, but also not trying to, I don't really know how I want to say this, but not trying to figure out what someone is. There's just something really uncomfortable about that, about looking at someone and trying to make a determination of if they're Asian or not, or what ethnicity they are. So I'm not going to do that. This is self-claimed ethnicities. And if they don't claim any ethnicity, then I'm not going to mention it. We're just going to get through the list. So First They Killed My Father. She is from Cambodia, and this is a memoir. Balzac and the Little Chinese Seamstress. This author is from China, but moved to France at a young age, and this is translated from the French. Sympathizer. This won the Pulitzer, and the author is Vietnamese. Elif Shafak is from Turkey. This is The Bastard of Istanbul. The Story of a Goat. This is by an Indian author, and it is in translation. Through the Arc of the Forest. This is by a Japanese author. Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I have read her other book, Little Fires Everywhere. Really enjoyed it. I don't know if she claims an ethnicity. I didn't look into it too much. I didn't see it anywhere. So I didn't mean claims claim she is, but just identifies as. That's openly, vocally identifies as. Am I out of focus? I might be out of focus for this whole thing. I'm not re-recording. Okay, The Far Field. This is by an Indian author. American Visa, short story collection by a Chinese author. Some of these are going to start looking familiar because they're on my spring TBR, so trying to get two birds with one stone here. Disoriental, this is translated from the French, and it's by an Iranian author who then moved to France at a young age. Human Acts by Han Kang, who is a Korean author. This is in translation. Familiar Things, which is also by a Korean author, which is also in translation. So that's it. I just wanted to keep it short and simple. So let me know if you've read any of these books and you like them, or if you're planning on participating in these readathons, or if there's any other readathons or reading events that you're participating in. And until next time, happy reading.